Welcome back for another Sins of a Solar Empire 2 video. We are still in our ship analysis phase for the Vasari Alliance. A lot of this information may be completely irrelevant after the patch drops later this week, but I still think it's good to discuss some of the ships, even in their current state, and a lot of the same information can be applied to them if things change. Usually it's minor for the stuff that's already been built, and then we'll have meta shifts depending on new ships and bigger changes here and there. So today we are reviewing the Kultorask Titan for the Vasari Alliance. I'm going to unclick that just because it's a mess. It is the Titan for the Vasari Alliance faction. As you can see, it's kind of a cool ship. It's almost jellyfish looking or spider looking. It does have the 8 spines on the side, and then it has a very interesting tail feature on the back end that kind of looks a little bit like a flower, a little bit like a jellyfish or a spider, but definitely a Titan to be feared. Probably not the number 1 Titan. I think right now that award goes to the Tech Enclave. And probably not second because that goes to Vasari Exodus, but this one's probably a close third to the number 2 for the Vasari Exodus. So again, this is the Titan, and I think this is a good one. So right here what I've got is the level 7 ship. It starts very much in a lighter fashion. Let me pull up. I apologize for not having this ready. That's what I get for not having things ready. Alright, so the Kultorask starts with 5,340 shield. Picks up 358 shield points per level, maxing out at 8,565 shield with no levels in any of the warfare tree. Armor starts at 1,560, gains 105 armor points per level, and then ends at 2,505 armor with 156 armor strength on the armor with a durability of 750. Hull points goes up the most out of everything. Starts at 7,620 and then ends at 12,215 hull. So you can see here at level 7 I've got 11,330. And there's a couple of hull points that get upgraded in the Vasari tree, as well as weapon damage in the tree while you're leveling it up. This ship comes at base, comes with 1 heavy phase missile, weapon allotment, 2 additional smaller but still heavy phase missile launchers, 16 heavy wave cannons, 16 point defense pulse guns, and 8 beams. The DPS starts at 53 on the single phase missile and seems to get about 2.6 or 2.7 additional DPS per level. The heavy phase missile starts at 26 damage. Hang on one second. Starts at 26 damage and looks to get about 1.2 additional DPS per level. The heavy wave cannon starts at 18.3 and gets 0.9 DPS per level. Point defense has 6 damage to start with and gets 0.3 additional damage per level. And then the beams start at 15 damage and go up by 0.7 DPS per level. There are 2 additional weapons that you can get with research. You can get the phase cannon restoration, which adds the phase cannon to the ship. Just very quickly, we're going to build it because I think that these are all enhancers. Oh, and then there's one additional phase missile launcher that we can get on the ship to add. As you can see, one heavy phase missile for 294 DPS on the ship. So while we're talking, I'm going to add those. Oh, I didn't even realize that adds a little armament on the front. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's something I learned. So let's turn those off so you can see what's happening. So I'm going to get the phase missile launchers. It's going to add them right here around on a ring right here. And then if you get the cannon, it's going to put something right over the center right there. So I actually didn't even realize that until I just did it now. This Titan is one that I am much less experienced about, so I will be learning things about this one even while we're talking about it here. I'm not going to show the weapon arcs for the most part. All of them are forward facing. Titans seem to do a lot of mass damage in the front anyway, so I'm not going to mess with that while we're doing that, or while we're looking at it. So we'll just wait for these two items to come on. So there's the one heavy phase missile with 290, almost 300 DPS by adding it, and then I think the cannon. Yeah, the cannon has 138 DPS and 1,000 pierce. Which will help you clear any Titan on the field and then any starbase as well. Probably go to a gravity well while we're waiting here, and then hopefully get some action shots of this ship fighting. So going over the skills, the first one is Nano Leech. It is a nanite swarm that gets released in an area around the Titan. It steals hull and antimatter from surrounding ships. Has a cooldown of 60 seconds at base. Antimatter costs 180. We'll actually go ahead and level that up so we can see what it does. It goes from 180 to 150, and then I'm assuming 120. The hull and armor damage rate to enemy ships is 6 damage a second and 3 antimatter removal per second, while also regenerating 1 hull and armor per ship hit and 1 antimatter per ship hit for a duration of 24 seconds. So as far as I understand, there is no limit to the number of ships that you can hit with this. And it looks to be that we steal about like 12 or 13% of total damage dealt by Nano Leech. Nano Leech by itself is great if you're going into enemy swarms of ships. It will steal a bunch of health. You really kind of want to use it after your shield has been depleted, unless you really want to use the second ability, which we'll talk about shortly, or you want to use the ultimate ability. There is an item that you can research in Tier 5 to increase the nano emitter range for Nano Leech and Nano Remit, and it basically doubles the range on the skill. As you can see, the range is currently closer than your actual weapons are. So while we are doing that, we will go ahead and grab this. Where's Nano Remit? So Nano Remit is the other one is another good one, but we'll grab that while it's upgrading. So the ranges on these two are the same at 6,600, and the nano emitter that we're going to quickly get basically doubles the range that you have here, which will allow you to apply Nano Leech from a further range away than you currently are, sometimes meaning that you're not in damage range of some ships, stuff like the Javelus for the tech, the Canrack for the Vasari, or the illuminators, or in some case bombers, for the Advent. So that it'll keep you a little bit out of harm's way to apply your debuffs. And then, like I said, for every ship hit, you get some armor or hull regeneration. I recommend doing it when you're on armor, because armor is going to be stronger than hull, but definitely don't stop to if you're down into hulls. Definitely keep using it in hull. All right, second one is Nano Remit. This is a heal in the radius of your ship for all friendly ships. It has a cooldown of 48 seconds, goes to 42, and then we'll hypothesize that it goes to 36. It costs hull on your own ship of 360, 480, and then I'm assuming 600. Also restores antimatter to your ships from 60 to 90, and assuming 120. And again, I don't believe this has a ship limit. So this is going to be what you can use this to keep your frigates, cruisers, and capital ships alive. It's a still a long cooldown, and I think having one level of nano remit at any point is a good thing. But the one item, or the one skill that you're going to be leveling, is going to be Gravity Pulse. So Gravity Pulse is a range, has a 60-second cooldown, costs 120 antimatter. Looks like the cooldown goes 60, then 66, and then I'm hypothesizing 72. Antimatter goes from 120 to 135 to 150. And you apply a debuff around your Titan to enemy ships. So it is a max speed reduction of 36, 48, and then 60%. Increases the weapon reload from 12 to 24 to 36%. And the duration of the max speed and weapon reload goes from 24 to 36 to 48 seconds. If you have enemy ships that have been hit by Nano Leech, and you've got a significant amount of them here, you can use Gravity Pulse after Nano Leech has been hit, and you will get you will stun those ships. They can still be shot, unlike phase out, and you can hold them in place for 6, 12, or 18 seconds. They cannot do damage. They cannot apply any skills. They cannot move, but they can. I believe that they can regen as long as it's a passive regen. But it's a very strong disable. Basically takes all. I think it even applies to capital ships, but not Titans. But applies a significant stun to the units in your area. So level Gravity Pulse. I would say you level Gravity Pulse as quick as you can. So at levels 2, 3, and 5. Nano Leech you probably have at level 1. There's no reason not to have it at level 1. And then you probably grab Nano Remit maybe at level 4, depending on what your fleet makeup is and whether or not you think you're going to need to heal the rest of your ships. And otherwise you would do level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 back on Nano Leech, and then level 5 on Gravity Pulse. Because this is the combo of these two is your bread and butter. The final skill is Dissever. It is your ultimate, has a 2-minute cooldown, costs 120 antimatter in a radius of 6,600, which is the same as all of the bases or base abilities that you have here. You apply 900 damage to all ships in the radius. Anything that is affected by Nano Leech also takes 30 damage per second for 30 seconds, which is an additional 900 damage for a total of 1800 damage at a 500 pierce rate. So this is a extremely strong ultimate. It will kill off a lot of frigates, especially with the damage that you're putting out from your Titan and any supporting ships. You do want to combo it with Nano Leech to get the maximum damage out. I would argue you want to do Nano Leech, Gravity Pulse, and then Dissever to just do that much more additional damage with your ship, and then clean up with all of the extra damage that you currently have. So again, very strong abilities, very, I wouldn't even say supportive, but still supports your entire fleet while doing it. Talk quickly about items. Nano Catalyzer Swarm, you will be already tier 4 on both Empire and Warfare by the time that this is coming out. Nano Catalyzer Swarm, I don't think is necessarily something that you're going to need to pick up, because there's a good chance that you have superior chain reactions at this point. If not, you probably have optimized reactors, which in my case I don't. It has 578 antimatter. Let's see, 150, 120 is 270, 390. So to use just your Nano Leech, Gravity Pulse, and Dissever, you will have enough antimatter at level 7 to do it. And you would also have this, you definitely have enough for Nano Leech and Gravity Pulse at level 3 and 4. You may not be able to get more than 1 or 2 off, but you can still at least use them. I'm quickly going to unpause it and hopefully get this ship item built while we move towards the pirate base. But we'll get a chance to see how big the range on this gets.
A phase jump inhibitor has trapped our fleet upon arrival. Ready to engage. Our fleet has engaged the enemy. An auction is underway. Phase engines engaging. You failed to place a bid.
Sorry about that, my evacuator, or my fabricator got killed off.
Engines engaging. Ready to engage. Our fleet has engaged the enemy. Awaiting new prey. I smell prey. Item complete and
Alright, so this was for Nano Leech and Nano Remit. This is the original range is 6600. So then you add in the item and you effectively double your range. So you can be applying Nano Leech, and I believe Gravity Pulse also increases the same range. Yeah, it does. So you could be applying Nano Leech to ships outside of your firing range, and also then Gravity Pulse, which means you can close the distance on them while they're doing no damage, which I think can be a good thing if you're playing against players. Against AI, I don't think that it's a necessary upgrade. Usually they're running into your Titan anyway and not applying damage correctly. So you're getting the range is not something that I think you need to do against AI. So anyway, back to items. Nano Catalyzer Swarm, we don't really need it. We're going to have the antimatter unless we've got a fight that drags out for multiple minutes in a row. We're not going to need it. Nano Repair Swarm, you have too many different items that you want to put on this ship besides this one. So if you're going to have Nano Repair Swarms in your fleet, it's not going to be here, and you'll probably be using it on your own Titan. Same with Nano Attack Swarm, you just don't have the space for it, and this one's not even something that's worth getting at that point anyway. So then other items, the auxiliary hangar gives you 8 additional bomber squads. As you can see, we don't get that many as you level up, and I did not take care to see at what points we were getting bombers. It looks like level 4. Level 4 is when we maxed out at 3, based on some of my screenshots. So you would go from 9 to, what would that be, 33 bombers. I still don't think doing that is worthwhile unless you really need to keep your fleet at range while bombers do something. But again, I don't think it's something you should be spending your money on. The gravity pulse enhancer, and we can talk about the nano emitters at the same time. I think that these are both critical items for PvP, for the reason that we just talked about. Is if you want to be able to approach something or some fleets that have a lot of DPS, you can use your nano leech before they are in range of you and you are in range of it, to then apply gravity pulse and get your stun, and increase your damage and just keep your fleets alive in that manner. Phase missiles, I do think that this is a good one to get. Towards the end of the video, we will probably go into a pirate base so you can just watch the ship shoot its weapons, and we'll see just how much comes out of these. If I remember correctly, I think it's because it's these 8 around here. I think you're shooting roughly 5 to 10 missiles out of each of them. And so you're shooting probably 60 to 80 to even 100 missiles out of these launchers, given any reloads. So it'll blanket the air with missiles with just putting this on. And as you can see, it is by itself, let's see, it is the single highest damage DPS that you have on the ship. The only thing that even comes close to rivaling it is the heavy wave cannon, because there's 16 of them, but it's only got 240 pierce. But you're also probably shooting smaller ships with this just because of the range and the amount of stuff it keeps shooting out. The heavy phase missiles are good to get. As I remember, it does not require any upgrades to get to it. So this you can purchase as soon as your Titan comes out of the fleet beacon. The Kultorask phase cannon, I also think that this is a good item to have on your ship when you get to tier 5. It will help you melt enemy Titans. It will help you melt star bases. And it's one large shot that we'll look at when we go raid the pirate base in a little bit, just to show you this ship in action. Beam modulator, I like this one as well, because you are in tier 4. You probably also have beam overdrive all the way leveled up, which gives you 48 base damage and then an activatable for 96 more damage, 96% more damage, for a total of, what would that be, 100 and, is that 140, no, 134%. And you already have 8 beams on this ship, which effectively doubles your damage, if not, and even a little bit more, to go from 20 to 40 DPS on all 8 of them. So it's a significant burst of damage when you do it. The phase missile augments absolutely get this upgrade, especially if you get the additional phase missile launchers on your ship. We'll look at the HP of the missiles when we go into the pirate gravity well, and take a peek at that. But because you do have 4 different banks of phase missiles shooting on this ship, and just even the 12% to 24% passive damage, and then all of the additional phase missile shield bypass, absolutely get this one when you can. And then last but not least is the wave modulator. You do want the wave modulator on this ship and make it able to kill cruisers and frigates. As you can see here, you do have 16 heavy wave cannons on this ship. I think I'm actually going to at some point look on this before we go into the gravity well and see how many of these wave cannons are forward facing versus rear facing to make sure that it's actually 16 and not 8, like some other ships in our fleet. But this is the one ship that if the enemy is frigate or cruiser heavy, absolutely grab the wave modulator. You want it more for the reload than you care about the damage. Just anything to get your damage out quicker will help you clear those out of the way that much quicker. So I've already said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 offenses have potential to be on this ship. If we had to rank them, the phase missile launchers is number 1. The phase cannon is number 2 if you get to tier 5. And then against players, you probably just want 3 and 4. And then everything else down here is going to be defensive or potentially artifacts if you have grabbed some with planet surveying. Anything to keep this ship alive. In the defense tree, the phase attenuated shield, crucial if you are facing a Vasari player and anything with phase missiles. Nice to have in all other instances. Hull plating is a must, as well as level 2, just to give you that much more regen, give you that much more ability to survive. The self-repairing armor is also a must to keep you alive. So you've got 3 defenses that you absolutely need to have, and a 4th that is situational depending on your opponent. In the utility tree, the gravity stabilizer is one that I do highly recommend on this ship. Simply because the base speed on this ship is 600. There is not that many ships in our fleet that are 600. The Evacuator is, and the Scarantra is. So anything to outpace these 2 ships, getting the 12% max speed will get us from, let's see, what would that be? 12%. 12% gets you right on pace with the Cordal Devastator and the Volcaras Desolator, right at 660. And then chances are you've got at least 2 Antarak Marauders for Distort Gravity in your fleet. And then if you're up to the Kultorask as well, chances are you've got some additional move speed and phase resonance. So a little bit of everything for ship items, but Gravity Stabilizer is one that I recommend. Just for max turn speed, max acceleration, to get yourself in and out of a gravity well, to chase if you need to chase, and anything to move that much quicker. Resonance Amplifier, I don't believe is a good ship item at any point in the game. So at this point, I don't think we're unlocking it. And then Antimatter Recharger. We have already looked through the offense tree and the defense tree, and it's not that this is not something we want, it's that this item has too many different slots to compete with. The already must-haves that we need are the 2 platings, the self-repair, the phase cannon if we get up to tier 5. If we don't get to tier 5, you can probably leave this off the ship and fill it in with something else here. The phase missile launchers absolutely need to be on here. And then if you're playing against real players, you definitely want the 2 offenses here. And another Vasari's here. So the problem is that this is competing with other things on this ship. And we just don't have the space for it. So what you should probably do is just rely on antimatter regen from the Empire tree rather than getting the antimatter recharger. All right, so that's it for all the items. I'll even put, let's do this real quick. I think I would rather do that. So phase attenuated shield, like I said, it's mandatory on against a Vasari. You can probably drop the phase cannon unless you get to tier 5. If you get to tier 5, I say you have to make a tough choice between one of the other ones and drop it off. Maybe it's the hull plating. No, it's got too much armor on it. So we would keep that. Maybe it's the gravity stabilizer if you think you're tanky enough, because you're already pretty tanky and I don't even have any of the other upgrades queued up at this time. I am going to queue them up at least through tier 4 while we're moving. And then I'll leave these tier 5s off just to show that what is the possibility for it to come out of the factory with at this point of the game. So I don't have, let's see, I have this one right here, wave cannon and pulse, and then probably servos. So we'll get those upgrading, make sure I have all my researches. Yes, I do. Alright, what's my research speed? 312. Alright, while we move, I'm going to quickly put on the weapon arcs and the weapon names. So we'll do a quick look at those. Make sure that there's not too many rear facing. Alright, yeah, so that was my concern. So we do have 16 wave cannons. It looks like, and I can't zoom in anymore, it looks like we have 8 of them are rear facing on the spines on the back here. We also have a point defense, it looks like, on each of those. So we have a total of 16 point defenses, but 8 of them are shooting backwards and 8 of the waves are shooting backwards. So, and it looks like there's also a missile rear. Is that the only one? I don't know which of these 2 missile launchers is the rear facing one in the stat card. But it looks like there's one missile rear that is, actually I think it's this right here. We can kind of see them here. But as you can see, this is your firing arc. So anything, even if you're just turning to face and shoot something here while you've got enemies here, these will catch the enemies and fire that way. So that would be the double rear facing is these 36.8s. Nicely, they do, if you do combine them, they add up to this one here. The beams are up top. There's a point defense on the middle of the spine. Yeah, it's just a jumbled mess. You can hardly see it. So the waves look like they're kind of center mounted. There is the bonus missiles all the way around, which you can see are these purple ones that we see here. And is there anything else we're missing? Is the cannon. Can't see it here, but I know it's in this center point here. I think it's a tiny little reticle here. So we will get moving into the next system, and we'll use some of these skills. Where's my fabricator? It's on its way. So we are upgrading all of the in-combat stuff just so we can show what the values were. Right now it's all defensive stuff increasing. So that was antimatter, we got more armor. This will give us more armor points. So 2785 to 3180. This is shield regen stuff. Yep. So 8390. bumps us up to
Research complete.
4485. More shield. This will be the tier 4 shield one. So it goes up to 10,1400, and then the rest of these will all be damage related. So these will quickly go up, but that's not necessarily what I'm concerned with on this ship, because all the defenses are now here. All right, slow it down. I'll turn off turn off all the points so we don't get bogged down by it, and turn off auto casts here. So this looks to be like our new phase missile launcher. They have 13 hull points, and I don't know if that's from leveling up the hull itself, or if this is just the health that they come out with. But you can see here they do 91 damage apiece. It looks like a significant volley of missiles at whatever it's shooting at, with the damage here. I'm going to wait until the enemy ships are in range to use my gravity pulse and then my dissever. I think it's dissever, not deceiver. I can't tell. Maybe it is deceiver. So I'll wait until everything is in range, because we don't get bonus range on this one with the 2 enhancers. See if we can get the phase cannon shot. There it is. So this is our phase cannon shot. What are we shooting at? We're shooting at this guy. We're going to slow it way down so we can see this shot hit and the damage that it does when it hits. Quite a bit of damage. But then the missiles hit and the missiles just destroy it. Going to warp this and the fabricator in, because we don't need that, and we will get the wave item, which I don't think we're going to get it before this battle is pretty much over. But quite the damage coming out of the ship. There's another cannon shot. Hit the Gauss platform. As you can see here, we've got all these ships now in range. We hit the nano leech, we hit the gravity pulse, and we'll pause it. You can see that the damage is 12 to the ship, loses 6 seconds, or 6 antimatter, which will give us a great buff of 2 hull per second and 6 antimatter regen, to basically get us to the point where we don't have to worry about antimatter. But it is phase engines disabled, cannot launch strike craft, armor regen, hull regen, shield regen, can't build, abilities disabled, and weapons disabled. So I don't have I'd have to go find an enemy capital ship in this area just to test it. So everything is completely unable to shoot. I am the only thing shooting here, and that's for any ship or any structure in range. So we just shot off the deceiver. A lot of damage was done to all the armor points here, and you can see the damage is ticking from the deceiver damage. So we'll go back to regular game speed. And then everything just explodes. So significantly debuffs the fleet. Obviously late game, we will have probably 2100 fleet supply when this is coming out. So there will be an additional, what would that be? I think it's 150 for max supply. So we would have a very significant fleet behind this as well. It's not going to be by itself. All right, you can see the armor is ticking up. We're at full armor. Antimatter does not seem to be going up that high. But we're getting shield regen. We're waiting for the shield burst in 12 seconds. We're going to get 5,000 shield with shield burst. Gets us basically half of our shield back. While it's taking damage, shield regen is 30 per second. I do not have the phase attenuated shield on. Armor points regenning, I think I saw it pop up at 20 or so. And then we have not gotten into hull regen at any point because our damage just is not being taken. But we've killed the entire pirate base. Alright, minor faction items. The Alexian ship kill experience, if it is early enough in your game and your Titan just came out of the fleet beacon, it has no engagements that it has to immediately rush to. I do recommend finding a neutral faction that you think you can fight and put the ship kill experience and the ability cooldown item on your ship here. Actually, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you want this anyway, just for cooldowns. So 20% ability cooldown gets you down to a 50-second cooldown and a 60-second cooldown. I know that this is 72, so we've dropped 12 seconds just to get to here. This is nano remits down to 40. Deceiver's still 2 minutes no matter what. It looks like that doesn't work to lower it. So this is something you absolutely want on your Titan, especially if you're trying to speed level it to get it to the point where it is as big and tanky as what you're seeing here. Armored Citadel, if you find yourself in a position where you do think that your ship is probably going to go to crippled hull, absolutely put this on your ship. As you can see here, we've got 20,000 hull points with all of our defensive buffs added in up to tier 4. Again, I did not get the extra hull regeneration here, the bonus armor strength here, but it looks like we actually have all of our max hull added to this ship. So putting the crippled hull on this ship would push you up to 40,000 hull points that are also regenning at a 96% hull regen rate. So absolutely, in a state where your ship is going down, get the crippled hull and put it on there. Drop off anything that doesn't cost an exotic and just know that you're going to try to keep it alive. Titan's late game, absolutely critical to keep alive. Same thing with jump field stabilizer. If you think that you are probably going to go down, get the phase jump or the jump stabilizer on there. I would say anything offensive, so probably nano remitters and gravity pulse enhancer, because once you're back alive, you can at least do damage here. You want the defensive items to stay on no matter what, but getting yourself out of a gravity well where you know you're in trouble, get the jump field stabilizer on it. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for those. Those are kind of your, oh no, I miscalculated the damage I thought I was going to do. And then phase resonance. So with phase resonance, I was at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 planets when I was able to get to tier 4 for both Warfare and Empire. With these, what did I say, 8 planets, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 total phase resonators, which would get you to 6 here, and I think it's 10 to get up to mobility here. Granted, you probably want combat or utility at this point. Mobility, while it's nice, you can make up the missing speed on your ships with the Marauder, or once you get to a point where you don't need, where you can use it as the gravity stabilizer. So you absolutely have options for what you want to do with phase resonance. I've already talked how important Fate Mobility 5 is. There's a chance that maybe they'll change what these phase resonance do in the patch this week, because phase jump speed, in my opinion, is just not something that we truly care about. It's not. If it was charge time, I would say maybe yes. I'd rather have charge time than phase jump speed. Max speed is always good because it's a hard resource to get. But if you can have combat, and let's say you have 15% reload and 9% damage, this ship is going to be putting out huge amounts of damage against an enemy fleet. And then also in the utility, having a 36% cooldown, you can basically be stunning the enemy fleet with your nano leech and your gravity pulse extremely quickly. I think it's 18-second disable, and if you've got 36 plus the ability cooldown from the Alexians, you basically, have a 36-second cooldown with 18 seconds of duration of disable duration. So you will have a extremely substantial amount of uptime on your stun. But yeah, otherwise, if you do decide to go combat, I don't think that there's anything that can go wrong with this. This ship is, at least phase missiles across all of our capital ships are gated more on reload than anything else, because they seem to have 15, 20, 25 seconds between missile volleys. So getting that 15% knocks it down just that much more, and it'll increase your damage. But again, you'd probably rather be in utility by late game, or mobility late game, than in combat. And then researches. I did start showing some of the researches. I was going through at least the tier 4 stuff. This is the first time we'll talk about this one, the ship kill experience. Anything that you can do to level this ship up faster is a good thing. You can possibly have, depending on how quickly you got to your Quarnium forging in tier 4, or whether you grabbed them elsewhere on the map and got them somewhere else. You can start researching it as quick as you have the Quarnium. If you don't have the Quarnium, getting the 3rd generation cruise starts you with 700 experience, plus also the 200 here for a total of 900, which bumps you automatically from level 1 to level 2. Just having 2nd generation cruise by itself does not get you all the way to level 2, because Titans require more experience to level up. But having the 3rd generation crew definitely does get you to level 2 to start with. Pulse weapons, as we can look at here, the only pulse weapons on this ship are the point defense. While the damage increase is probably nice, it's not something that we are going to go gung-ho over. It'll help clear some fighters and bombers out of the air. It'll help with missile interception. Well, actually, the damage doesn't really help with missile interception. It might help with something like if a desolator is shooting at you, to clear some more missiles quicker, just with higher damage. But it's not something that we're going to specifically go and get this for the Titan. The wave weapon, because you do have 8 wave cannons in front. Actually, did we prove that there were 8 in the back? I think we did. I think there's 8 in front. Or no, we did point defense. Weapon arcs and weapon names. Let's go to arts and points. Yeah, we'll find that easier.
Which enemy?
So are there rear waves? There's a wave here. Yeah, so we did say that there's waves in back. So there are waves in back. So there's 8 waves in front, 8 waves in back. This is probably the one capital ship besides the Devastator that actually does make use of the waves that it has. Any bonus that you can get on the waves, I think, is okay. But with the wave item, I don't. Judging by what I have filled out of my slots, I was thinking maybe you could find space for it. Against the AI, I think you can find space. Against players, I think that there's more important things that you need to put on your ship than the wave override. The beams, actually, we do like the beams on this ship. There are 8 forward-facing beams, I believe. So we decided Titan waves, Titan, yes. The waves are front-facing. They shoot off each of the spines on the front, and there are 8 of them. So any bonus beam damage will help you kill capital ships that much quicker. So yes to beams. Against the AI, grab the beam item. You can go full damage against the AI because they're not smart enough to counter your Titan, whereas players are. With the missiles, absolutely grab the flat damage and the shield bypass if you get to this point. Flat damage all the way up if you can get it. And then against players, again, you probably don't have space for it. You're more worried about utility than you are damage. So you can consider it, but to drop it, you would have to drop the probably the 2 ship item ones, which we get in tier 5. I didn't even realize that. So if you're waiting for tier 5, this is what you're going to look like. Probably is here. And then I would say wave modulator if the enemy fleet is cruiser and frigate heavy. Beam modulator if they are capital ship heavy. But yes to the phase missile augments. And actually I'll take that off. Put the wave on. So this is what you would look like until you hit tier 5. When you do get to tier 5, I would say that the phase cannon's the most important, but you do probably want to grab both of these and drop some damage off and turn to utility. Reason being is because you'll be at 2,400 supply. The enemy fleets will be at 2,000 supply each, and they will put out some substantial damage. So you are actually at risk running closer with your ship at that point than anything else. Defensive tree, absolutely go ahead and grab everything. Reverse engineered shields at that point in the game I think is fantastic. It looks like it's a 45-second cooldown. Actually, let's just go test that real quick. Go out of the gravity well. Let them build their fleet back up. We do have 34.4 shield regen, which is pretty good. Alright, let's go back in. Yeah, we're not even going to get to hull, I don't think. Let's go into the cannons. Maybe the cannons will do some damage to us. There we go. Now we're taking some damage. Except our armor is too good. So we're getting 36 armor per second. Let's go into this one. There's 3 star bases. Oh, there's capital ships here. Absolutely destroys enemy capital ships. Been going for too long. The easy AI came to my systems. We'll start a war with these guys.
Stronger than ever.
How close are you? There.
Ready to engage. Your destruction is inevitable. Phase engines engaging. Moving, though we're exposed. Taking a chance. Our fleet has engaged the enemy. There must be something we can do.
Can I get in range of both star bases at the same time? I can.
Taking a chance. Into the fray.
Alright, well, either way. So definitely we want the hull regen. We want the max hull points. Absolutely get the armor. Alright, shield burst. Are we going to get down?
Familiar.
Alright, so shield burst, it looks at least 50 seconds. It might be 55 or 60. I don't know if I caught it in time. We miss out on our 36.7 shield regen, and we also have armor regenning because we have the, where is it? The self-repairing armor, and we get 36.4 armor per second. So a lot going on there. So shield regens, I would reverse engineer shield with shield burst. I do think we probably want to get it just because it's a Titan. Chances are the Titan is going to survive for the 1 minute that the shields are not regenning. I was talking to other players about this today, and let's say you miss out on 60 seconds of shield burst, or of the shield regen while shield burst is getting ready, and that would be roughly 2200 shield. So you run the risk of 2200 shield, which you would regen in that minute constantly, which protects your armor, or you do the shield burst and wait them 1 minute and you get 5000 shields at the end of it. Specifically on the Titan, because it's so tanky, because there are so many hull points, I think it's important to have shield burst available for this particular ship. Mass shield array again, just because you get that much more shield regen, that much more max shield. And then down in items, phase cannon, when you can afford it, gravity pulse enhancer, and the enhanced nano emitters at that point. And then you would toss all three of these off of your ship, possibly even the gravity stabilizer. I would say still leave it on because you're trying to hit nano leech, you're trying to hit gravity pulse on stuff, and if you're unable to do that, then the ship loses a lot of its functionality. So that's all I've got for the Kultorask Titan. It's obviously, because it is a Titan, it's extremely powerful. The only two Titans, like I said at the beginning, the Tech Enclave, just because of how tanky it can be, and the Vasari Exodus from its unmatched mobility with microphase jump, and the Maw that can suck up frigates and cruisers and instantly kill them. And the ability to also have a homeworld on it make it a very, very strong Titan on its own as well. So we fall into a close third, I think. Maybe if it's a distance third, but very good Titan, extremely strong in the meta, and looking forward to any changes that may be announced on the patch this week. So that's what I've got. Hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe next video tomorrow we'll probably do star bases. The one thing that we don't build enough of as Vasari. So thanks, and talk to you next time.